Ghosts are taking over the internet, have you noticed? And today I want to share this no-sew cute little fabric scrap ghost made with a piece of fabric, some Google eyes or felt eyes, and liquid starch. It is so easy to do. I did a few tests, and now I'm going to show you some different things to consider as you are making these. And if anyone is allergic to latex in your house, you are in luck because I can't touch balloons, so I will not be using balloons to make the curve shape on the head. But I came up with a few other solutions that obviously work. Now let's talk about forms. I cannot touch balloons, so I had to get really creative. So if you want to go balloon free, I found that these glass ornaments placed inside a small mason jar worked great for a 12 to 14 inch piece of fabric. So I just had the mason jar and the ball for the ghost that has the bottom that was touching. Then for the one that I wanted to look like he was floating, I just set that mason jar right on top of an upside down bowl. So just get creative and play with the height and how to just get things so that it's going to hang at the bottom the way that you want it to. I had to get more creative for the big one. And so what I did was I ran to the Dollar Tree and I found this terrarium planter. It's plastic, it's curved, and I was like, uh-oh, it has a hook. How am I going to do this? But luckily, you can just unscrew that and take it off. And then find a glass that you can put that on. So here's what I did. I took a cookie sheet and I put foil on top just to protect my workspace and so that I could move it. Then I took a glass bowl and I just poured some of this Stay Flow liquid starch. Now you'll see different opinions on whether you dilute it or not. I'm going full strength. I want these things nice and stiff and starchy. Now I have a 12-inch square of white fabric. I'm just going to dip it into that starch, get it nice and wet, and then you're just going to wring it out. Okay, put the starch aside. Now I'm going to put my form down, and then you're just going to put this centered over your ball, and then you're just going to let it drape down, and then just organize it however you want. So this one would kind of look like a ghost just kind of hanging out. If you want him to look like he's going into the wind or moving a little bit faster, you would just move your fabric, give it a little bit of shape, and that's it. We're just going to let that dry. So you just walk away from that. I often do these in the evening, and then by the morning, they're ready to go, and then we can put the eyes on them. Now let's make some faces. Eyes in a mouth, whatever you want. Now these ghosts are made out of my October Ghost fabric from Riley Blake Designs. It also comes with purple or a gray background. So you can use a printed Halloween fabric, maybe or some stripes or whatever, kind of make it fun. Or you can go more traditional and just use white. It just really depends what look you're going for, what scraps you're working with, and if you're doing it with other people, what they want. So maybe you give them some options. Then I got some googly eyes, also at the Dollar Tree, which I thought kind of fun, gives a different look. I put felt eyes and a mouth on the other side just to show you the difference. So that's a little more traditional. It's a little more fun. So I basically just took a scrap of black felt, figure out about how big you want it. So let's make some bigger eyes. And I'm just winging this. I just folded it in half and then just cut an oval. 2 pieces. If you're not thrilled with the shape, just trim that down. This is definitely, again, one of those projects you don't want to overthink. You just want to have fun with it. So you could do eyes and a mouth. You could just do the eyes. So much fun. And then you can either use a hot glue gun to put that on, or you could use an Elmer's glue. So when I put these on, I put a little bit of glue on the back of the felt. I just put my hand in here and then just pressed. Because it's hard to get it to stick well if you don't have anything behind there. So now that your ghosts have eyes, you can decide if they're just going to hang out on a bookshelf or if you want to hang them. Are you ready to have your ghosts take flight? If you don't want them on a counter and you want them to fly around your house, just use some clear fishing line. I like to keep just a spool on hand for projects like this. And then I tied a button to the one end of the fishing line. You want to use white if you're doing a white ghost. I can put anything in that colored one because it's not going to show through. Then you're just going to pull more line than you think you're going to need for length. Then I'm just going to thread the fishing line through a needle. And now I'm just going to turn my ghost over and I'm going to poke that pin straight through the top of his cute little head. If you want to make sure it's secure, you could do just a tiny, tiny little stitch to make sure that it doesn't slip when you're moving it around. So see, when I let go, obviously gravity took that little button. So I'm just going to put an itty bitty stitch there that no one's going to see. That is nice and secure, and he is ready to fly around. And now one thing you really need to remember is you cannot hang these outside, because if they get wet, the starch is going to get wet, and then they will no longer have their ghost shape, and you'll be starting over, and you'll just look like you have a weird piece of fabric hanging outside. So definitely keep these indoor, or at least under cover, if not inside. I'm not sure how humidity would affect them, but if you try it and find out, let me know.